La 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 la. La 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 la. I have to make sure we're streaming. We're streaming. It looks like we're streaming. Can you hear the sounds of the game though? Like I can hear them because they're super loud to me, but I don't see them over for you. So here, let's work on the settings here. Audio. Like everything is like 50-ish. All right, that sounds good, right? Okay. Well, I can't tell if the sound's being picked up. Jeez, it's freaking loud to me though. Okay, so hey, welcome to my show. I'm just kind of going. What I'm doing, there's two things. There's two things I want to talk about. The first thing is I want to tell you about what happened. I went outside. I took a step outside, just to go outside. I haven't gone outside very much lately, because like I tend to have bad experiences with people, but the weather's nice, so I went outside today. And outside, I saw my neighbor. Oh, there's my neighbor, right? My neighbor, he's a white guy from Canada, and he's in his 50s. He's a white guy from Canada in his 50s. And he sat down, and we started talking. And he told me, what was he? He was telling me, he told me that NATO is what caused Russia to. He said NATO forced Russia to attack. He said the West was causing all these problems with Ukraine. He said Julian Assange is a good guy and he's being attacked by the United States. He said the Democrats are terrible and that Hillary Clinton was a really bad person in government. And like I kept hearing all this stuff and I'm like, you know what? Shut up. Shut up. What you're doing is repeating conspiracy theories, all these right-wing conspiracy theories. And then he said, oh, no, these are libertarians. They're third party. And I'm like, man, don't you understand? In America, in the United States, we don't have third parties. We have two parties because we have first past the post system. You can't do a third party. There is no third party. But to this 50-year-old white guy, Democrats and Republicans are the same thing. He doesn't see the difference between Democrats and Republicans. Of course he wouldn't. He's a white guy. So yeah, he doesn't see any difference. And like every time he wants to start talking shit about Democrats, it's like he can't be specific. It's just like general. And every time like he's like the Democrats do this, I'm like, which Democrats? Who? And he can't say. And so like every time you try to make him be specific, he loses it. He can't. Because it's not there. Because a lot of the right wing talking points is just to distract. And completely, you know what he didn't talk about? Here's what's important. He told me about right-wing conspiracies disguised as, just looking for the truth, just doing the third way. But he told me all right-wing conspiracies. That's all he talked about. What he did not talk about, was the fact that the January 6th committee today said they had text messages between Jeannie Thomas, the wife of a Supreme Court justice, and Mark Meadows, chief of staff of Donald Trump. They coordinated to do the coup. But moreover, when the January 6th committee wanted to find out about what happened over here, they went to get the records, and Donald Trump said no, like, I'm suing, so you can't get these records because I'm Donald Trump. Well, that's dumb, right? Of course you can get the records. You're not president anymore, Donald Trump. You don't get to say anymore. You're not president anymore. But it went to the Supreme Court, and all the Supreme Court justices said, yeah, whatever, dude. You're not president anymore. Go ahead and get the records. Except for one. One judge said, no, you can't look at the records. Who was the judge that said no? Clarence Thomas, the husband of Jeannie Thomas. The Jeannie Thomas who coordinated with the chief of staff of Trump to overthrow the government. So the one guy whose wife was involved in the coup voted to keep the records secret so no one knew that his wife was involved in the coup. A Supreme Court justice is obviously corrupt. Obviously corrupt. He's obviously corrupt. His wife tried to overthrow the government, and he covered it up. He used his power to save her, to protect her from the consequences of trying to overthrow the government. He tried to cover it up. He used his position on the Supreme Court to cover up his wife's crime. Holy shit, that's huge! But my white neighbor only wanted to talk about right-wing conspiracies disparaging Democrats. That's so weird to me. That's so weird. That's so weird. Why would my 50-something-year-old white male neighbor come out and talk to me for an hour about right-wing conspiracies that disparage NATO, disparage Bill Clinton or Joe Biden, disparage Hillary Clinton, but never talk about the fucking insurrection that's happening, that's planned by other Republicans? Isn't that weird? Don't you find that strange? I would think that would cause you to have some kind of self-reflection. When you are more concerned about stupid, baseless, right-wing conspiracies than you are about an actual insurrection by the Republicans. So you're listening to the people who are trying to overthrow the government. I got so mad. I couldn't believe it. And the problem is, the guy, my neighbor, he's deaf. So I can't just talk to him to explain it because he can't hear me. So he's sitting there broadcasting all these right-wing conspiracies, and I can't rebut them because he can't hear me. Oh, I got so mad. Yeah. He doesn't think he's right-wing, but he keeps repeating the right-wing stuff. Just like my mom, right? She's like, I'm not a right-winger, but she repeats what she hears from her friend, which is all right-wing shit. Yeah, it's like, how are we going to deal with global warming when the boomers are still like listening to right-wingers, to Nazis, listening to Nazi conspiracies? How are we going to deal with global warming when our parents are listening to Nazi conspiracies? And my neighbor's not dumb. He's a smart guy. He was like the OG programmer, computer programmers. He's a smart guy. But yet, it's like he's too smart for his own good because he thinks he can get he thinks he's smarter than the mainstream or whatever. So he's got to find the secret, the hidden angle to really get the good picture. But all that does is it helps. All he does is help attack the left wing for Republicans, and at the same time ignoring the Republicans. So he's not being smart. He's being tricked. Yeah, that's all they could talk about were right-wing conspiracies. He talked about Julian Assange. He talked about how NATO forced Russia to be imperialistic. He was telling me about how NATO is making lots of money from Russia being an imperialist nation, that it was NATO's fault. And I'm like, what are you doing telling me this? Like, I'm the last guy you want to be telling these lies to. Like, I've been following this shit for years. Like, I'd risk my life. I didn't risk my life, but I risked my safety to protest like constantly when no one believed me. And now you're gonna come at me with a bunch of right-wing conspiracy theories? Get out of here. And you would think after all this time, he would figure it out that, oh, maybe the right-wing people aren't so great. But like well, that's what it is. He doesn't think he's right-wing. He doesn't think the people he listens to are right-wing. But they are. They disguise it very cleverly to trick you, but in the end, it's a right wing. If you say third party, what you're saying is right wing. Because third party is a throwaway vote in a two-party. In the American system, we don't have third parties because the logic of our system doesn't allow it. It does not allow it. If you vote third party in our system, you're basically helping conservatives. Because conservatives automatically get a especially after the Republicans gutted the Voting Rights Act. Now conservatives have the advantage when it comes to voting because it's hard to get people to vote. They have lots of ways of stopping it. So if you can make people believe both sides are the same and not vote, that's great for the fascists, and that's what my neighbor was doing. He was sowing doubt into the whole system. He's like, you can't trust anybody. He's like, if you're gonna vote, you should only vote third party. And I'm like, so you're basically like a Nazi now. Like not a Nazi because he's not actively pushing hate, but he's promoting a bunch of right-wing talking points. Oh my god, it just drove me crazy. All right, I need redstone, but I don't have any. So there are ways of like trying to get it. I don't know. Let's see. I dug that way forever. I dug. Oh. That goes down. That way forever. I dug that way forever. And I dug that way forever. Suppose I can just go dig forever in a different direction. How about right here? It just drives me crazy. Just drives me crazy. You would think he would learn after this. Oh my. When he started blaming Hillary Clinton, I'm like, man, get out of here. You have lost the plot if you're blaming Hillary Clinton. Hey, slimes. I need slimes. I should actually hang out here. Because I made a bunch of pistons and I ran out of... I was like... I'm running low on slime balls. Yeah, sticky pistons are expensive. I didn't realize it. What I should do is make like a farm here, a slime farm. They're easy. Yeah, text messages coming out that the Supreme Court justice is coordinating with the president to overthrow the government. And my neighbor is saying, and my neighbor is like attacking Democrats. I can't believe it. Yeah, the wife of a Supreme Court justice and the chief of staff and the president are all trying to overthrow the government. But you want to talk about how bad are the enemies of the president? What? Fuck, I couldn't believe that. But what am I gonna do? He can't hear me. Like, he has a hearing aid, but it's like communication like is hard. And I don't sign, so I can't really do anything. I guess we could talk on Facebook, but like I haven't had much success having rational conversations with people on Facebook. It usually ends poorly. So Julian Assange worked with the Russian government to set up an information laundering site where Russia could launder its stolen information. So the Russian government would hack into these places and then use WikiLeaks to publish it to like clean the information. That way they can say that, oh, it didn't come from the Russian government. It was just anonymously submitted. And I know, and then, so the argument is that, well, wait, Julian Assange is just a publisher. He's just a reporter. He's not into politics. He's not here to try to go one way or the other. He's just reporting the facts. No, this is not true. This is not true. Because WikiLeaks also had the Republican leaks, but WikiLeaks chose not to publish those leaks because it would hurt the Republicans. What? And who else wanted to help the Republicans and hurt the Democrats? The Russian government. So yeah, Julian Assange is on Team Russia, and my neighbor was more concerned about protecting Julian Assange than he was with the insurrectionists trying to overthrow the government. Like, he doesn't really care that the United States is overthrown. He's more concerned that a right-winger might not have all his rights protected. Free speech, man. That's the only right, the only liberal values that Nazis will talk about. Because it's a liberal value that Nazis can exploit. Nazis love the value of free speech because it gives them a platform to spread their hate. But they will never share it with you. They will complain if they don't get to spout their hate, but they will, as soon as they get power, they will take away your free speech. And you can say free speech, but they'll punch you in the face because Nazis only care about power. They don't give a fuck about free speech. They only talk about it to get power. They don't care. They're fucking Nazis. Hey, there's another amethyst geode up there. Yeah, anytime you see someone talk about free speech, be very careful. Because right-wingers, Nazis love to talk about free speech. But that's it, and only so they can spread their hate, and they will never ever reciprocate the value of free speech to you. Because they're Nazis. I don't see any redstone. This is a big cave, though. Like, it goes all the way to the bottom. I just need redstone, guy. I don't even know where I am. I just started wandering and then I got lost. Yeah, it made me angry because I couldn't respond. And he kept spouting right-wing conspiracy theories. Yo, I'm way too low. I don't have any torches. Dude, you don't have any torches and you went way down here. What were you hoping to accomplish? Like, there's the way out. A way. Oh, that's not. Okay, there's that. That's right. I was killing slimes. I remember now. Yeah. Like, I can't get over like just okay. Beyond all the insurrectionists coming out, you know, saying they're trying to overthrow the government. States controlled by Republicans are all passing these Nazi laws that revise the history of the Confederates, of the race of the white supremacists, so that no one learns about what the white supremacists did or what they're about. They want to erase white supremacy so that no one can talk about it. Well, shit, I need to get back up there. In all the Republican states, they're passing laws to take away voting, to take away rights, to take away freedoms. Because Republicans are against that stuff. They're authoritarians who believe in the power of. They only believe in power. They don't believe in freedom. They say freedom, but they don't really mean it. They only mean it freedom for themselves. So it's not real freedom. It's what they're talking about is privilege. When Nazis and right-wingers yell freedom, what they're saying is privilege, because they don't mean freedom for everyone. They just mean freedom for themselves. Freedom for yourself just is privilege. And for privilege to exist, you have to have someone to oppress who is not privileged. So necessarily, right-wingers who shout freedom are really saying privilege, are really saying, I'm going to oppress you. All right, so this is like the end of the road right here. I need to like continue to build on over here. Continue to build on this side. I was gonna make a bone meal farm here. Yeah, we're gonna come to a very, very dangerous time. So, the Republicans and Joe Manchin have managed to have greatly diminished voting rights in the United States. So, I don't know how much they paid Joe Manchin, but he handed the government the next election to the Republicans, because Republicans got rid of the Voting Rights Act, and when Democrats tried to restore the protections of the Voting Rights Act, Joe Manchin came down and said, "No, filibuster. I'm going to filibuster." So Joe Manchin's like, okay, I'm going to stop the filibuster to protect voting rights. Now let's everyone vote. No voting rights. Joe Manchin stopped it, filibuster. And now we're going to see how the Democrats do now that Joe Manchin stopped Democrats from protecting the vote. So Joe Manchin, it's a pretty interesting move by Joe Manchin. Joe Manchin stopped the Democrats from protecting the vote, but Joe Manchin's a Democrat. So I'm sure he thinks I'm sure he's got a good idea to fix it. If people don't vote, then the Democrats are going to lose, and that might be okay for Joe Manchin. Maybe that's part of Joe Manchin's plan. I don't know. But the way it's looking right now, with the Manchin filibuster, Democrats were unable to save voting rights, so the Republicans and Manchin are going to let the states, let the Republican-controlled states, pretty much end voting. They make it extremely difficult for unpreferred people to vote. Let me give you an example. In Texas, the Republicans told all of their Republican people, don't vote by mail. Don't vote by mail. Well, the Democrats, they still voted by mail. Well, the Republicans had a plan for that, because when people voted by mail, Republicans passed a law to make it so that you could invalidate the votes of people who voted by mail. So that at the end, none of the Republicans voted by mail, but lots of Democrats voted by mail. Then Republicans changed the rules to say, oh, all these Democratic votes, they're all invalid. They just threw out a shit ton of votes by saying, oh, they're just invalid. So in other words, they managed to restrict the votes of Democrats while allowing the votes of Republicans. So Manchin's like, yes, score for Manchin. That's what Manchin wanted. That's exactly the thing Manchin wanted. Manchin wants to depress the voting turnout of Democrats and increase it for Republicans. That's why he blocked the Voting Rights Act. That's why he filibustered it. So but that's what's weird is that none of the reporters asked Joe Manchin about these victories of his. I mean, you would think that he'd be able to talk about the great victories he's got. He's like, you know what, reporters, thanks to my filibuster, Texas was able to throw away something like a sixth of the votes, of the Democratic votes. That's fantastic. That disenfranchised huge numbers of Democrats. So Joe Manchin's plan is doing fantastic. Why doesn't he get asked about that? Why doesn't he get to take credit for his filibuster? I just don't understand it. Maybe because everyone's so busy with all the other stuff. But still, I would think someone would take the time to ask Joe Manchin about his great successes in rolling back voting rights across the country. Because that's all about Joe Manchin. That's all him. His filibuster is what did it. If it wasn't for his filibuster, I think the Republicans would have been finished. But Joe Manchin was like, I don't want to stop the Nazis. Why would I want to stop the Nazis? No, Joe Manchin, Joe Manchin's a Dixiecrat. So, do you know what a Dixiecrat is? So, back in the day, it used to be that all the racists were Democrats, and all the South was Democrats. And Democrats used to be the Confederacy. And so if you're a Democrat from the South, what do they call you? A Dixiecrat. A Democrat from the South. A racist Democrat from the South. They call you a Dixiecrat. Well, during the Civil Rights Movement, Lyndon B. Johnson managed to pass the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act, which guaranteed voting rights for Americans. And when that happened, all the racist Democrats left the Democratic Party and joined the Republican Party. But Joe Manchin is one of those racist Dixiecrats. He's basically Republican. He's racist. He's basically a Republican. He overturned. He helped to overturn Lyndon B. Johnson's Voting Rights Act. So he's like a Dixiecrat. He's like a really old school racist Democrat. But I mean, like, why am I talking about Joe Manchin? Because Joe Manchin, owns a bunch of oil, and that conflict of interest aligns him with Putin. And you can see it. You can see it go all the way through. Because he's blocking the America's transition to clean energy. Because he makes all his money from coal, dirty energy. So he does not want America to go to clean energy because he won't make money. So he's going to allied with Vladimir Putin to make sure that America does not switch to green energy. All the tyrants are allied to keep the world on oil, because the tyrants, control oil. So of course they want to keep everyone on oil. And Joe Manchin's one of them. He's one of the oligarchs. Well, I don't think he's an oligarch. He serves the oligarchs. He wishes he was an oligarch, but he's too poor to be an oligarch. That's why that's why he's so easily controlled, because he wants to be an oligarch. Yeah, I didn't like being lectured to about right-wing conspiracy theories by my neighbor. That made me pretty angry. And what's funny is I remember back in 2017, he was telling me to be careful, beware of Antifa. He was telling me to be aware of Antifa. I hope everyone realizes by now that the only people afraid of Antifa are fascists or Nazis. Right-wingers. Right-wingers are terrified of Antifa. But see, that's the thing, right? He's a white guy in his 50s. He's the target for misinformation. He's the primary target. They're looking to get him and trick him and warp his brain, because I know he's the target. He's their target. They're shooting to get him, to brainwash him, and it was working because he was spitting it to me, and I was getting mad at him. Yeah, that's what the right wing likes to do. It likes to insinuate. It likes to what's that word? Insinuate, to insinuate, to badmouth, to make bad insinuations, to discredit people. But yeah, with insinuation. But if you ever ask them to be specific, all their things fall apart because they can't be specific. Because it's not anything, it's just a bunch of bullshit. They don't have anything real. They're a bunch of Nazis. What are Nazis seriously going to complain about? They're fucking Nazis. Who cares what Nazis complain about? They're Nazis. If they complain, good. Make them complain more, because they're fucking Nazis. Yeah, guys, I'm serious. There's fucking Nazis in the United States, and they're all over government. Look, a Supreme Court justice is attempting to overthrow the government. He didn't attempt to, but he used his powers to shield those who were trying to overthrow the government. That dude's not impartial. Not at all. He's actively shielding the insurrection, trying to overthrow the government. He derives his power, his legitimacy from the United States, and he uses that legitimacy to protect the person who's trying to overthrow the institution that gives him his legitimacy. Ah, my head. It's like the same thing. The cops who try to overthrow the United States. You dumb fuck. The United States is the one who gave you the authority of the cop. Why would you try to overthrow the thing that gives you your authority? Oh my god. That's because right-wingers, that's because Nazis have a very different meaning when they say the word freedom. They have a very different meaning. When Nazis say the word freedom, they mean privilege. Privilege for Nazis. They don't mean freedom like freedom for everyone, like we mean freedom. They mean privilege for Nazis to do whatever they want and to oppress everyone else. That's what they mean. Fuck Nazis. I mean, I couldn't even watch the uh-oh. See a piece of redstone. That means I knocked it off somewhere. I think it was right there. I think. I hope. Let's see if this still works. Oh, here, let me empty my stuff here. Yeah, I need some jungle trees. I didn't realize this thing worked so good for jungle trees. This thing is great for jungle trees. It still work? Everything worked? Yeah, it looks like it. I think. I hope. Let's see. All right. I think it worked. Nothing's broken yet. Okay. Oh, this is super loud. All right, let's wait till like daytime. Maybe it'll work better in the daytime. can't believe he came at me and saying Julian Assange. No, not really, not any faster, but that's still pretty cool, but it's so loud. There. That better? Oh yeah, way quieter. Like you can't even hear it now. Yeah, that's a lot better. Oh god, it was killing me. It was so loud. I mean, it was cool, but it was so loud. Yeah, I don't know. I would think after in the year 2022, when all this evidence of insurrection is coming out, the last thing I would want to talk about are is Julian Assange. Trying to protect Julian Assange. I can't believe that. I can't believe that. That after all this time, that would be the thing, and that he would still go after Hillary Clinton. Like, oh my, it just breaks my head. I can't believe it. I don't know. I hope I get enough leaves out of this, or enough saplings. A little worried. Sorry, that was about it, huh? Holy shit, I went off on that. I mean, that and plus, like, how much more evidence do we need that Republicans are trying to overthrow the government? It's so obvious by now. It's so obvious. There's so much evidence there. I can't get over it. Like, who doesn't? I mean, I guess there's a lot of people who are just ready to who just don't care. I mean, not they don't care, but there's a lot of people that are like, yeah, there's evidence of trying to overthrow the government. That's what they're trying to do, and they're on board with it. They're like, yeah, we're trying to overthrow the United States. I mean, how many millions of Republican voters are there? They're all on board with trying to overthrow the United States. Holy shit, that's incredible. It just seems weird to me. But I just had this conversation with my neighbor. I just had this conversation. It's not like he's dumb. It's not like he doesn't know what's going on. It's not like he hasn't been around for the past, like, what, what 5-6 years to see what happened with Trump, and yet he still repeated all the right-wing bullshit. I couldn't believe it. It's like he didn't learn anything from the information war that we're in. It's like he doesn't even know we're in an information war. But he tried to say that he was just being third party, but everything he said promoted Republicans or Russia. Everything. He never ever talked about anything disparaging Russia or Republicans. It was only bad about NATO or Democrats. I couldn't believe it. And I let him talk for a while, and he never changed. He never left that until I yelled at him, and then he stopped talking about it. And the same thing with my mom. Like, I can talk to her for years about this stuff, and she'll still come back to me and repeat what her friend told her. Some dumbass, whatever, crazy, pro-fascist, pro-Russia, pro-Nazi thing, whatever she heard from her friend. She'll still do it. And then she'll say, I don't believe it, but she repeats it. And it's so funny how many times she repeats things that she doesn't believe. It's weird. She doesn't believe anything I say, but you'll never hear her repeating what I say. But she never believes. But she repeats all the time what her friend says. Oh, but she doesn't believe it. But it's not these Nazi talking points. But she doesn't believe it. Shit. Whatever. But she repeats it all the time. Never repeats what I say. She doesn't believe what I say either, but never repeats it. That's so weird. Why is it that she doesn't believe, she neither believes my talking points or Nazi talking points, but she only repeats Nazi talking points? Why is that? That's so weird. I should put more pistons in here to break all the leaves. It would just take forever to get all the extra piston walls in here. Oh, geez, I don't really want to do it. It would take forever. But it would help with the sapling return. The sapling return's pretty not so great. Well, I mean, I got 17, but look how much manual harvesting I'm doing. That's why. I'm manually breaking these leaves to get the enough saplings. These leaves come out crazy places. Yeah, maybe that's why I can't go out into public very much. Like, yeah, COVID's been nice because I can't go out. No one's really going out and socializing, which has been good because when I go out and socialize, I tend to get really irate at people who are pro-insurrection. And believe it or not, there's a lot of people in Oregon who are pro-insurrection who want to overthrow the American government. There's a lot of people in Oregon who want to overthrow the government. A lot of traitors here. They don't see it as traitors, right? They don't see it that way, but they're white supremacists. So well, they're not thinking as it is. Yeah, I think just Judge Jackson is fantastic. She'll be great. She's super qualified, super qualified. A lot of great experience, and she was a public defender. That's great. So she's got experience on the other side, and not just being a prosecutor, but also defending. So that's cool. That's great. The only ones who are angry about Judge Jackson becoming a Supreme Court justice are Nazis. Nazis and white supremacists. They're the ones who are opposed to her, to Judge Jackson. I mean, but like that's easy, right? We can all see. Like I feel like it's not like noteworthy anymore. Oh, not that it's not noteworthy, but like I don't know. It's like if you know, then you already know. You know, there's no point in like beating a dead horse about Republicans being a Nazi. But if you don't know Republicans are Nazis, you probably will never know. If you or you don't, because you probably are one. You know, this is working a lot better than I thought in term for returns. Because check it out. I've got like tons of stuff. Yeah, I don't know. Um, I'm hoping we're gonna get some public hearings pretty soon, so we can like have more public conversations about this. Because right now I sound like a crazy man when I go outside. Yeah, whenever anyone starts talking shit about Democrats, ask them to be specific. And 9 times out of 10, they won't be able to be specific because they don't know they really don't know what they're talking about. They're just repeating what they heard. And usually, what they heard was said in bad faith in order to create a bad impression. That's the only reason. There's no actual anything behind it. Oh, hey, this turned out pretty good. I filled this up with jungle wood. Nice. Nice. All right. Hey, another stack. Good. Okay. Jungle trees. I like acacia wood too, but I don't think you can do a automatic tree farm for those. There might be one, but I don't. Man, the sapling return on that is terrible. So yeah, the United States were at war with Russia, at least cyber like on some level, because they overthrew our election and Republicans helped them. So I mean, Republicans are the enemy inside. Well, but I've been saying that. I mean, we all knew that, right? They're Confederates. They're the Confederacy. So I mean, of course they're the enemies. Of course. And there's a whole lot of people that want to join them, that are with them to overthrow the United States in service to white supremacy. A ton of people. Makes me sad. I mean, if you wanted to think like in the old way, why don't you just go to a country that does that? Why do you have to overthrow this country? Like, go move to Russia if you want to go live in their dictatorship. You don't wreck someone's democracy just because you don't like it. Go move to another country. Like, you don't believe people should vote? Great, go to Russia. They don't get to vote. They vote, but it doesn't matter because it doesn't matter because the votes don't count. So yeah, that's the perfect place for you guys, for people who don't think. But when you try to overthrow our democracy because you don't like it, yeah, that's too far. Now you're causing problems. You should probably not be in this country if that's how you feel. Like, I know Donald Trump doesn't really like it here. He should probably go to Russia. He'd have a lot better time there. It's exactly the government is run exactly the way he likes it if he moves to Russia. Like, I don't see why he's trying to turn the United States into Russia. He needs to move to Russia and make Russia better, right? By adding Donald Trump to it. He loves Vladimir Putin. I really don't understand why Donald Trump just doesn't move to Russia. I read something interesting about the Republican cry about voter fraud, in that it doesn't matter what happens because to Republicans, because any outcome that doesn't support white supremacy is automatically illegitimate to a white supremacist. That's why Joe Biden's presidency can never ever be valid. It can never be legitimate because he doesn't support white supremacy, and that's the only thing Republicans care about. I mean, that's the only thing that's legitimate to them is white supremacy. That's why they all vote against Judge Brown for Supreme Court justice, because to them it's illegitimate to have anything but white supremacy. If I'm painting with a broad brush and speaking in broad terms, well, the times. Oh, almost out of bone meal. I have more. It's over here, though. Just don't know. Burn, zombie, burn! Oh, never mind. Man, I need a bone meal farm because this is not gonna cut it. All a bone meal. There's a lot of bone meal, and this is the amount of wood I got for all that bone meal. Which really isn't that much. I guess I can use a different tree. Try oak. But then with oak, you got to do the oak mode. Oak mode! Okay. I mean, was that worth it? So yeah, okay, there's that. What else is going on? What else? Yeah, it's just like it's kind of a scary time. Republicans are going full Nazi, and in the states that they control, they're passing legislation that reflects their Nazihood. They ban books, they ban speech that they don't like because remember, Nazis don't really care about free speech. They just want to use it as a platform, and once they get power, they take away the free speech of others. That's what the Florida Don't Say Gay bill is. Yeah, because Republicans don't actually care about free speech, only power. And that's funny because that neighbor, my white 50-year-old neighbor dude, was complaining that all the people he was watching were getting censored. They were getting censored, and I'm like, oh. Their free speech rights are being taken away. I'm like, oh, which government agency took their free speech rights away? None. Well, then they weren't violated. Free speech rights are only concerning government control. No one's entitled to a platform. You're not entitled to be on YouTube or Twitter or social media. They're not forced to have you to host your content. If they want to kick you off, they can for any reason or no reason at all. It's a private platform. Oh my God. It's like, that's how come these Nazis don't really care about free speech. They only care about power. They want to force private companies to platform their hate while at the same time being able to cancel whoever they want. Fuck. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. There was a fucking conspiracy to overthrow the government that went all the way up to the president and a Supreme Court justice. And my neighbor was complaining about Julian Assange. And we're in trouble. Yeah, we need to have televised hearings because the American public has no fucking clue what's going on. No clue whatsoever. None. They have no idea what's happening. One hour of me ranting, like screaming into the void. Sounds about right. Like, I haven't said anything different for the past 4 years. I've always said Donald Trump was a traitor who worked with Russia to overthrow the US government. And nothing has changed in the 6 years since I've been saying it. It's only been more, I've only been proven more and more right. So I don't understand how we could have any Americans at this point who are on Team Donald unless they are fully aware that they're here to overthrow the government and that they're Confederates. If they don't know it, then they must be completely oblivious. And it doesn't matter because, you know, it doesn't matter if you're ignorant of that you're in service to evil. If you do evil acts, you're still evil. And if you're actively trying to overthrow democracy, that makes you pretty evil. Even if you don't understand it yourself, it makes you evil. I don't know about those pillars. Maybe down here in the corners. All right. Well, that'll do it for me for now. I just had to like we just found out about Jeannie Thomas texting Mark Meadows. And then I'm like, "Oh yeah, Clarence Thomas voted in that case against releasing the records that would have shown Jeannie Thomas had texted Mark Meadows." And then my neighbor was like, "Oh, Julian Assange." It was too much. It was too much. All right, until next time. Pogo Kiddo out. Peace. Stop.